Hello, dear students, parents, and educators. Welcome to Math Inquiry Learning Journey session organized by the Gym Foundation. Here, we are sharing interesting, simple ideas and activities that will help children think by asking questions, making observations, think critically, and becoming more curious and enjoy the process of learning. We actually encourage children through the power of inquiry based learning and helping them provide a framework to ask questions and make observations, thereby expanding their knowledge base and not limited to what the teachers teach alone. In the last episode, we actually saw how division strategy, especially the mental division strategy of dividing by powers of 10, can be done. In this session, we will see how dividing by multiples of 10, basically, for example, it could be 480 divided by 40 or 260 divided by 50, any number like that can be done easily, and also making observations which will help expand them by asking questions. So stay tuned and check out the activity. So, just as a brief overview from the last discussion we had, we understood the question of dividing by tens or hundreds can be asked as how many groups of hundreds are there in 2030. So, basically, you are trying to find how many tens or how many hundreds in this case are there in 2030, right? So the like I told, the children found the strategy that there are two zeros here, so put a line and then left is quotient and right is remainder. To see how this works, watch out our first session on mental division strategies. So now one of the children was asking curiously, ma'am, you have a kind of, we explored together how by dividing by powers of 10 can work, like 10, hundreds or thousands. What about multiples of 10? For example, 30 or 70 or 40, any number like that, or even hundreds, for example, 120 or anything for that matter. Any multiples of 10. How do we do? So, just not sharing the answer directly, we kind of introduced them an important activity which will help them understand this concept. So we asked the children to recollect our first discussion about equal grouping or equal sharing, where you have around 20 cookies. And then when you wanted to divide 20 cookies by 4, basically, what does it mean? It means how many groups of 4 are there in 20 cookies? How many groups of 4 are there in 20 cookies? And then assume that you don't know the times table of 4. You just know the times table of 2. So what can you do? Perhaps maybe 20 instead of 4. I can kind of 2 times 2 is 4, which I know. So let me divide 20 by 2 first. Okay, can you divide 20 by 2 and what does it mean? So what does 20 divided by 2 mean? Pause and tell it to yourself. Yes, so it means how many groups of 2 are there in 20. So if I can circle groups of 2, you can see that, this is one group, second group, third, fourth, fifth, similarly 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10. So the answer is there are 10 groups. Okay. So now you have done 20 divided by 2 and you got 10 as the answer. Now you have another 2 here. You should still divide by 2 to get the actual answer for 20 divided by 4. So now you have 10 groups. Again, ask how many groups of 2 are there in this 10 groups. So you have around 10 groups, right? And how many group, if you group the 10 groups into 2 each, how many groups are there? So let's do this. So I want to group this into 2s. So this is first, second, third, fourth, and fifth. So two equal groups, right? So two in each group. So how many such groups? So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So if I say there are 5 groups of 2 in 10. So these are the different ways to tell, which always encourage children to tell the entire division problem in words. Like how many groups of 2 are there in 10? There are 5 groups of 2 in 10. So then you get 5. So what did we actually do? So you know only division by 2. like the times table of 2. And then you applied the logic of first let me try doing 20 divided by 2, yes. And then dividing the same value, like the groups, again into groups of 2, and then you get an answer of 4. And that is actually also 20 divided by 4, which we saw earlier, like 5 groups of 4 things are there, right? So in this case, you can understand that 20 divided by 4 need not be directly done like that. Instead, you can split it as 20 divided by 2 and then divided by 2. So now, after doing this activity, where the children understood that 20 divided by 4 can be done as 20 divided by 2 into 2, or first 20 divided by 2 and then divided by 2. There are two important observations that the children made. First observation is this. Some of the older children who knew kind of fractions, they say, 20 divided by 2 is a fraction in itself, and we are actually doing fraction divided a whole number in this case. Is that correct? I told, yeah, that is what it means, and you can try with a proper fraction. So here it is like not a proper fraction, but you can try with a proper fraction, as in if you have a half and you are dividing again a half by 2. So basically you have a chapati and you have half of it, half of chapati, and you are dividing that half again into another 2. So basically this half you are dividing again into 2. What do you get? One of them is 1 by 4, right? So this part is 1 by 4. So basically what you're doing in this case, the division is 1 by 2 is nothing but 1 by 2 times 2, which is 1 by 4. Here 20 divided by 2 by 2 is nothing but 20 divided by 2 into 2, which is 20 by 4. So this connection of different concepts to this activity is the first important thing that children are learning and applying through this inquiry based learning. The second interesting aspect is they were asking how it can be related to the actual question that we asked. So, what was the actual question? Dividing by multiples of 10. So, then now that they understood this division, mental division concept, I asked them, come on, let's do any division. Like, for example, 480 divided by 40. It is a multiple of 10. So what do you do? So children would say, yeah, I can cancel 0 and 0, and then 48 divided by 4 is 12. Yeah, so that is quite straightforward. But what does it mean to you? How can you do it? Then one of the children recollected the earlier discussion, and she told, maybe I'm first trying to find how many tens are there in 480 and then dividing by 4. So that essentially is the reinforcement learning of the concept which we discussed in the first session in this series, and the second one here, right? How many, just a few minutes before, how many tens in 480, and then how many fours? How many fours in 4 in the answer, basically what you get. So that means, what does it mean in arithmetic? Converting the statement to arithmetic, 480 divided by 40 essentially means 48 times 10, right? And then 4 times 10. So basically, how many tens are there in 480? 48 tens, and then you are dividing by 4, which is 12. So if we start directly telling this, then they might not have understood from this example, simple example of why it happens, and also an extension of how it is related to division in terms of fraction perspective. So those are the knowledge expansion ideas that we get from inquiry-based learning. So children now understood and kind of wanted to try with different numbers. For example, what would happen if instead of 480 by 40, there is a reminder like 40 by 40. So in this case, they understood that I can still cancel, yes, but now they know why they are cancelling and what it actually means. So here it means 111 is the quotient and the remainder is 2, right? 46 divided by 4. So by promoting this kind of environment where children ask questions, make observations and come up with mental strategies to work on, we were surprised to see a student studying grade 6 have come up with a very interesting concept in the division concept. which we'll be taking up in the third episode. Stay tuned and watch that to see what kind of a different observation the child has. Thank you.